Bonjour, cette semaine s'écosse et bienvenue à mon avant-première du Grand Prix de France. Everyone, hope you're well. Hope you're all good, and welcome to my preview of this weekend's French Grand Prix. A Grand Prix which I think we're all looking forward to, following a thrilling and entertaining end to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix last time out. It's not often you get the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen not scoring any points, but that did happen in Azerbaijan, and that led to Sergio Perez taking his first ever win at Red Bull as a Red Bull driver. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this weekend in France, and a weekend that has now seen, um, well, in the lead up to the weekend anyway, Esteban Ocon signed a 3-year deal with Alpine, and you know what? It's fully deserved. He has driven really well so far this year, and he's been out qualifying, and he's been beating his more experienced teammate in Fernando Alonso. And Esteban is still a young lad, and he's got plenty of years left in Formula One. And for him to, obviously being a French driver with a French team in lead to the French Grand Prix, it's a good news story. So in the lead up to this weekend's French Grand Prix. So yeah, he's done really well, Esteban Ocon, and I did tip him at the start of the season for him to be the dark horse of this year, and I still stand by that. And yeah, he's done really well, and obviously with him signing a deal with Alpine, that you would think would count him out of contention for the Mercedes potential Mercedes seat for 2022. So be interesting to see. And the thing is, though, the progress that Alpine have been making this year has been quite encouraging. And you know, I think yes, no, they've not been quite on the pace from the very start of the season, but as the race have gone on this year, they have been making steady improvements. So there's a lot of, I think it's a good time. There's a lot of positive energy and optimism around Alpine, and as I say, Esteban really deserves his new deal, and obviously with Alpine, home Grand Prix for them this weekend, so they'll be determined to put on a show and put on a strong showing ahead of, as I've said, what is their home Grand Prix. And Fernando Alonso will definitely be coming into the French Grand Prix rejuvenated um, after a fine sixth place finish on the streets of Baku last time out. Look, it's not been all plain sailing for Fernando on his return to Formula One and to the team as well. But I'm hoping that that sixth place result can give him confidence going into the rest of the season. And I expect as he gets more comfortable, more familiar with the car, I expect him to be delivering strong results and consistent results as well. So yeah, really good result for Fernando in Azerbaijan. Hopefully he can build on that. And also, you look at what Sebastian Vettel's done at Aston Martin. Not was a slow start for Sebastian at Aston Martin. Last two results have been pretty strong for the German, and he's definitely now got some momentum going into the rest of the season. So yeah, Fernando Alonso, great result in Azerbaijan, and fingers crossed that he can build on that. And I think Alpine are going places, and I think there's a lot of optimism around the team. And as I say, Esteban, great news about him signing a new deal, and he thoroughly deserves it. What we also saw at Azerbaijan as well, and we saw two high-speed crashes, so one for Lance Stroll and one for Max Verstappen. Scary at the time. I can imagine for both drivers, for the team, for the fans as well. Obviously safety is paramount in not just in motorsport, but for any sport. That is really important. So to see both drivers, both Lance and Max, get out of the cars, also unscathed as well. That was a big relief. And obviously, Aston Martin and Red Bull have done their own investigations into those crashes, and there were no faults on the car. There was nothing to suggest that they were going to have that both drivers were going to have those crashes. And they did everything right in terms of tyres, in terms of preparation. What they did everything was right. And also, Pirelli have come out with some reaction to those incidents. They've said that the circumferential break of the inner sidewall, which is what led to the tyre pliers, in a way, basically related to the running condition of the tyre. So that's what it came down to in terms of those tyre blowouts for both Max and also for Lance as well. But yeah, no. So we'll obviously, no doubt that will, teams and going forwards, no, for sure, that teams in there, absolutely, they'll have concerns about, the tyres going forwards. But it's up to Pirelli to reassure the teams, and also the drivers as well, that this doesn't happen very often. Doesn't happen again. But the thing is though with Azerbaijan as well, we've seen tyre blowouts before. So it's not the first time that we've seen Lance and Max have those incidents. If I remember correctly, I think Valtteri had a tyre blowout as well. It might have actually been down to debris, but even so, he still did have that blowout in 1 year. So it has happened before. Whether it's the track characteristics, I'm not sure. But hey, anyway, that's for another day. But the fact is that at least Aston Martin and Red Bull know we've got an idea in terms of what it is that led to the tyre blowout. So obviously, I mentioned about Alpine, mentioned about Ocon signing a new deal, and them being a home Grand Prix for them. Real shame for Romain Grosjean. So he was actually due to be testing for Mercedes this weekend, and then following Tuesday after the Grand Prix this weekend. But unfortunately, because of coronavirus restrictions and also quarantine as well, that has led to Grosjean not being able to drive for Mercedes this weekend, which is a real shame because look, when he does get the opportunity, when he's back in that car, it will no doubt be a special feeling. And I think, look, I think it'll be obviously emotional for Roman, his family, but also for many of us as well to see him back in a Formula One car will no doubt may well bring one or two tears to the eye. But yeah, to see him as well, back racing as well in the IndyCar, I think is fantastic. Great to see. But just a real shame that he won't be driving for Mercedes this weekend. Obviously, it would have been special to have raced, well, not raced, but to go out in front of his home crowd. But when he does get the opportunity, it will no doubt still be a very special moment for Roman and his family as well. So yes, that's one of the other stories that broke this week in the lead up to the French Grand Prix. And then obviously we come on to talk about the Grand Prix itself. Another round of Red Bull versus Mercedes, and look, Mercedes need to have a strong weekend this weekend. They've had 2 weekends where things haven't gone as well as they could have, but we're now coming into more traditional tracks now. So obviously we've got France this weekend, the first of 3 consecutive Grand Prix in 3 consecutive weekends. Then we've got a double header in Austria, and then obviously we've got Silverstone coming up soon. So we come into tracks where Mercedes should be strong, and I expect Mercedes to bounce back this weekend, and no doubt they will be even more motivated after what happened at Azerbaijan, what happened in Monaco as well. So, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. In fact, if there's one team that can bounce back from setbacks, it's Mercedes. So, and I think it's also a massive weekend for Valtteri Bottas as well. I think he'll be coming into this weekend. Obviously, confidence won't be as high as he would like, but look, he on his day, Bottas, he's a fantastic driver, and Mercedes just need him to be right up there, like Checo was with Red Bull, in Azerbaijan. We know Perez is a specialist, Baku, and Red Bull will be hoping that Perez will be right up there alongside Max to be able to take the fight to Mercedes. Mercedes need Bottas to do the same. They need him to be right up there with Lewis and also with Red Bulls as well. But I feel for Bottas. I think what happened at Monaco. I felt really sorry for him because that was no fault of his own. And then obviously in qualifying, he gave Lewis that toe, which led to Bottas, his own qualifying program being affected. So yeah, he's had two very difficult weekends recently, Bottas, and no doubt no speculation is going to continue to mount about his future at the team. But he's just one of those drivers where you want him to do well. You want him to succeed. And I'm one of those people who want to see him do well. So, Valtteri, I think, look, if he can he just needs one of those weekends where he has a good qualifying, he has a clean race, and everything goes to plan. And if he can have one of those weekends, and if he can have that at France, then I can see Valtteri at least finishing on the podium. And who knows? Even if it's a third or second place finish, that could give him confidence going into the future races this year. So yeah, I really want to see Valtteri bounce back as soon as we can, because on his day we know, and we've seen it on numerous occasions, that he's a fantastic driver, and when he's on it, he can definitely give the likes of Lewis and Red Bull a hard time for sure. So yeah, big weekend for Mercedes, and know that they'll be motivated to bounce back. And then Red Bull, so they're obviously both leading both the drivers and the constructors championship. Could be more than a win for Checo. Could have been a 1-2 for the team at Baku. But even so, Red Bull is still in a strong position. No doubt they will expect Mercedes to fight back strongly, and Red Bull have to be ready for that. But at the same time, Red Bull have already proven this season that they can perform at all types of tracks now, from your low downforce and tracks that have plenty of straights. Now they've proven that they can cut it at all types of circuits. So I'd expect Red Bull to be strong at France, and yeah, another round of Red Bull v Mercedes this weekend. And comes to talk about Aston Martin very quickly. So Sebastian Vettel, that's now two strong results now on the trot, and you know what? Great to see him on the podium in Aston Martin. Aston Martin's first ever podium in Formula One, as Aston Martin, that is. And yeah, really good drive from Sebastian, and it's good to see him smiling. It's good to see him enjoying his driving, and hopefully we'll see a lot more stronger results for Sebastian. And look, as I mentioned earlier, with Fernando, him having a slow start, it was a slow start for Sebastian at Aston Martin. But these last two results seem to have rejuvenated the team. And yeah, I think, look, at the moment, Aston Martin are a bit of a way off from Ferrari and McLaren from third in the constructors. But if they can get both Lance and Sebastian scoring points regularly, and strong points as well, then you never know. They might just be able to close that gap between themselves and Ferrari and McLaren. Still a long way to go, but the last two Grand Prix suggest that Aston Martin are on the right track, and they are making improvements. So yeah, good to see Sebastian, like I say, doing well at Baku, and fingers crossed we see Sebastian back on the podium before the end of the season, and him continuing to pick up strong results. So yeah, obviously we talk about a home Grand Prix in France for Pierre Gasly, and Pierre's just he really has, ever since going back to after being demoted from Red Bull and going back to AlphaTauri, going back to Toro Rosso as it was before. He's just a totally different driver than the driver that he was at Red Bull. I think being that team leader now that he is, I think it's good for him. And I think he's just grown, hasn't he, in terms of character, and obviously winning at Monza last year, and that would be something I remember, me personally, I remember for years to come. And he's been one of the standout drivers for me. He's one of the standout drivers last year, and this year he's just continued to, he's just left off where he, the way he performed last year. So yeah, fine podium for Pierre in Baku, and yeah, he'll be looking to continue to build on that and pick up a stronger result at his home Grand Prix. Now, now would if say for instance, if Fernando didn't, obviously I know he signed a deal for, I think he's signed a deal for next year, but say for instance Fernando did decide to leave early, then would Alpine consider going in for Pierre, making it an all French team? Maybe, but I think at the moment you have to say, Pierre Gasly, from what I see, from looking in from the, from the outside, you have to say he's pretty happy at AlphaTauri, and why would he leave? So yeah, really good start to the season for Pierre Gasly, and I expect him to continue to get stronger. So one of the things I did on social media in the lead up to this preview is put out a question in terms of Alain Prost being the most successful driver to win at Paul Ricard, the French Grand Prix, having won at that track 4 times. But my question was, which two drivers have won at Paul Ricard, and in which years? So the answers are actually two British drivers. So firstly, Nigel Mansell. So he won in 1986 and 1987 at Paul Ricard. And then in most recent years, Lewis Hamilton. So winning in 2018 and 2019 at the same circuit. So Nigel Mansell and Lewis Hamilton are two drivers that have won twice at Circuit Paul Ricard, the French Grand Prix. So I'll be coming up with another trivia question. So when I do my Austrian Grand Prix preview, and that is the end of my preview. So I hope you all enjoy the French Grand Prix this weekend, and if you want to talk things Formula One, I'm on Twitter at Baggies20, and I'm also on Instagram, Manish Patel89. Catch you guys and girls later, and yeah, I'll catch up with you all when I do my review for the French Grand Prix. Au revoir.